As always, when deciding where to kite in PvP, you want to do what corresponds to what you're trying to survive against. So if you're going against like a ranger, and then you go into a no melee spot, and then they can just shoot you there still, it's not going to work out so well. So the 4 types of spots that you want to be thinking of is, the first one is no melee spots, better versus like warriors and other kind of melee classes like guardians and stuff like that. And then there are line of sight spots or low visibility spots, which are better versus like those projectiles. And then there are no port spots, which are very good versus porting classes like thieves and revenants. And then you have the transition spot, which is kind of like all 3 of those, but generally when you go into a kite spot you want to survive, so you want to extend the duration a little bit longer, and if it's a dead end, then you're not going to go very far after the enemy chases you up there. So transition spots are just spots that give you a lot of options and can sustain your life a lot better than a spot that just kind of ends. Kyhlo is a very small map relatively, but it's very vertical, so even though the nodes are close to each other, you can still survive being outnumbered if you know the terrain very well. So there's a lot of terrain to know on the Kyhlo map. And if you're being spawn camped, there's actually a second entrance or exit from the spawn to the trebuchet. So you gotta know the second exit there, and it's over here as well. So at the windmill, you have some basic terrain here. These little fences can be used to prevent knockbacks if you stand right against them. And this little thing right here is kind of okay. It's not amazing, it's just really good height advantage. I don't really like to go over there because there's not really any height over there. But if you jump over here, if you have a leap skill, you want to jump to the lowest point here. This is a very common thing you want to do, is jump from the highest point to the lowest point. Over here you have a very good line of sight and low visibility spot, because your camera immediately zooms in when you get it in here. And you can either choose to jump out this way, or you can choose to jump out this way, and you can juke people very easily like that. On top of these huts, this is all portable too, from anywhere. You can port from there to there, but as soon as you get to here, this is no port spot, so you can't port to here. So what I like to do very often, if I'm running from mid and I really need to escape with a port, I port to this right here, this little ledge, and that's where the port, like the nav mesh, is still continued. But as soon as you get to here, you're safe from port classes jumping on you. So this is a very safe spot right here to stand on, and it's a very good transition spot as well, because it just brings you all the way to mid and none of this can be ported to. Over here you can jump down from this to this little hut, and this hut is pretty nice for avoiding melee, and you can actually get to it from below if you stand on this little mound and then jump to the left to the lower edge. This can actually be jumped on at any time. You can get from here to here just by jumping there, so you don't need this pipe to get from this little kite spot to there. You can just use that little corner there. And over here, it's pretty much a line of sight spot, which is pretty nice. Melee attacks also won't hit you if they're standing down below, if you just jump up here. So it's a very good spot, and you can also just jump back up, so you have options. And over here, there is another pipe, but this is all portable too. So you're not safe from port classes over here, so if you're getting jumped by a thief or a rev, this is not safe. You want to go over to here. And oh, there's also a thing under this hut. So in this hut you want to go over here, jump to the right, and this is very good because it's line of sight, low visibility, and it's a height advantage. And then over here there's a good little jump. If you have a leap skill, you can jump on top of this like tent, and the tent isn't that good because you can just get AoE thrown on you, but it transitions you over to this spot, and this transitions you into mid, which is really good. There's also low visibility behind these stairs. You can just use that as line of sight as well. And there's a torch here you can jump on, which leads you to this spot, which has options. So if they don't chase you up this, then you can line of sight someone over here and go over here, but if they're over here, then you just line of sight them by going on this side, and if they chase you, then you can go many other places from here. Over here you can do a weird thing to get into mid. You can like jump from this thing into that thing and jump on the support to the scaffolding, and then from there you jump to this little like rock or stone, and then from there jump onto this support beam, and then there jump on the scaffolding. But this is all portable too, so it's not that safe. You can just be ported to from there. And once you step here though, it is, well, I'm pretty sure you can't port to it, but you can port from it. You can't port to it, you can only port from it. And then from here you can jump on top of this and then go here, and from here you can jump to the top of the scaffolding. You can also jump up to the spot from here by using these little steps. And then you can get up from here, so from the scaffolding or from the other side of mid. Also, you can jump up from this side of mid by going up this way, and then once you get to the top of this, you can actually leap over here, and from here you can just go to an insanely obscure spot of this little log. That's going to be hard to get to usually in the middle of a match. There's a height advantage you can gain from stepping up this wall, and if you have a leap skill, you can actually jump to the scaffolding over here, which gives you a shortcut rather than having to go up the boxes over here. There's a low visibility spot behind the stairs on both sides of the mid node, which you can use to juke by going in, and then they don't know which way you're going after you go back here unless they chase you through, and then you can kind of bait people in. Also below these tents is a low visibility spot, and you can even jump from on top of this rubble here and jump on top of this lamp, and they can't see you if you're here. So that's a pretty good spot for like avoiding melee. You also have, these spots are very low visibility, so if you go underneath this little like bridge and you stick to the right, people will usually not see where you've gone and they'll think that you just went down. But you can go to the right and just, you're above them now because they thought you went down, and you juke them and then you just stay up and then you just go back up. From here you have the dumbbells, which you can just jump into, very good for line of sighting. They're over here, then you can jump to this side of the dumbbell and line of sight from there. It's not very good against melee attacks though, for sure. You can go to the statue here, which is nice because melee usually can't chase you this far. If they do, then you can just throw AoE on top of this and they can't dodge. So if a melee class tries to chase you, say like a thief, and they have to stand on top of that with you, thieves usually need to dodge, so they just fall off. So it's a pretty good spot. Over here is a very good transition spot because all of this is no port, and you can jump over here to line of sight if they're over there, but generally I don't like to go from here because there's way more options if you stay on this thing. So if you go over here, you can go straight into the mansion node, and there's a lot of line of sight and low visibility here, and you can also jump from here to there. There's also this little rubble here that you can jump on top of, and that can transition you from here to here. This is a little bit of a difficult jump to make if you're in combat though, so I generally don't do this. But yeah, it's definitely possible to do if you have leap skills to make that. And you have the low visibility on this side of the stairs of mid as well. And this spot as well is just the same exact thing as the other side. It's a little bit easier to get onto the lamp, but yeah, you can stand on this lamp and it gives you very good height advantage. There's no lamp on this side of middle like on the other side, but you can jump to this ledge from the top of the staircase, and it can't be jumped up to from below, so they have to come from the staircase, and a lot of times you can avoid a lot of melee classes by jumping up on this ledge. Once you get to the mansion, you have these little bushes which you can use as line of sight. You can't stand on them, but you can stand on these torches and just jump on top of these to avoid melee attacks. And this is also a very good like line of sight spot, these little cubbies. So going in here is nice. This little hut here is nice for avoiding port classes and melee classes because they have to jump on top with you, and you can just jump from here to here and they're going to struggle to hit you because they're constantly jumping. And back here, if you're getting shot by projectiles, you can actually go back here, but yeah, this is usually not that safe because it's a dead end. Over here is another hut. This will usually get destroyed mid-match, but you can always jump from this little bush to that. And this is actually a portable hut. You can port to it, and it's a pretty nice transition spot from the mansion node into mid. You go from here into there. You can jump to this rooftop, but it's kind of a dead end because you can't jump back up, so it's not an amazing spot. Over here you have line of sight and low visibility behind this little scaffolding. If you jump on top of it, you can get to here, which is very nice for avoiding melee attacks. Behind this fountain is no port spots and low visibility and line of sight, so this is a really good spot to go to. And then if they chase you into the fountain, you can go over here and use this and just go up and down this rubble. It's really easy to go up and down, and if they're going to chase you up and down it, it's going to be harder for them to hit. This is the start of a match, and it's always very volatile, the first team fight, because everyone always has all their cooldowns up and they're ready to focus a target, and they choose to focus me. So I go beneath the little area here to try to juke them, the low visibility spot, but they don't fall for it, so I have to get out of the spot. I port up to the scaffolding and immediately get on the no port spot, and you can see the Revenant is below me trying to port to me, but they can't. And yeah, see, they're in Shiro stance there, so they're trying to port to me, but I get out and I can't be focused, so that allows me to resustain. And now they've wasted a lot of time trying to focus me, and I'm still nearby to support my team in this team fight. So at this point, I'm using the lower height from mid to still support mid while not really tanking all the damage from the rest of the enemy team. So I'm allowing my team to stand on node, but I'm not standing on the node with them, but still giving them the same amount of presence as if I was. And here we try to rotate out a little bit, but I realize that my team isn't trying to rotate out of mid, so I go back into mid to try to help them clean up that fight. The Revenant jumps on me, I get Shocking Aura on myself, but I'm once again trying to support my team on the node using the difference in the height there. And my Necro's doing fine, but they're kind of like running around and getting juked, and both the very aggressive duelists or DPS jump on me. So I go into the narrow ledge again just to survive as long as possible. I put a little bit of counter pressure there, but yeah, my teammates aren't really peeling for me, so I have to keep going up and down the terrain. And now they chase off the node, so I'm going to chase with them to try to support them so they don't lose and die, because then I'll be alone. But yeah, we're just fighting in the middle of like a flat terrain here, so there's not really much that you can do there. But since we are so far ahead, they're the ones that need to kite. They try to port away and kite, but we have the chase potential, and that allows us to win mid eventually after that very long drawn out. Kind of changed the numbers of who was in that fight, but we eventually won. So if you like this kind of content, leave a like and subscribe, and check out all the other map kiting videos in the playlist linked below, and I will see you guys next time.